Mathew, via Suzy Ward, June 28, 2017. With loving greetings from all souls at this station, this is Mathew. When you hear of natural disasters, fires, vehicle crashes, and terrorist attacks, sadness about the lives lost, and compassion for those who love them are natural feelings. Thinking of all the souls affected by such events, and the millions caught up in humanitarian crises in the context of chosen karmic lessons so they can evolve is not a natural reaction, and at times you wonder if violence and suffering ever will end. Yes, dear family, it will. Earth's karmic merry-go-round is slowing down. When physical lifetime ends for individuals who cause pain and traumatic circumstances for others outside of soul contracts, they will go to the spirit world of a deep third-density civilization, then embody in that population, and enter their karmic cycle. People still will transition from Earth at the time they chose in soul contracts, but the society will know about the wondrous life in nirvana, and that love bonds reunite persons and animals who are dear to each other. We welcome your questions about body cells and DNA. What your cells do profoundly affect your life, so this interest is indeed well placed. If we just radiate our light in doing good things, our DNA will be changed. Is that true? Yes, that is true, but in order to radiate light, persons first must absorb it, and that comes in doing good things. As third-density bodies absorb light, carbon-based cells that have two intertwined DNA strands gradually change to the crystalline structure wherein the strands can increase in number, and as that occurs, persons' mental acuity, spiritual clarity, and manifesting abilities also increase. I heard we can communicate with our cells. If this really is possible, how do we do it? What would we say? Not only is it possible to communicate with your cells, but you constantly are doing it unawares. Each of the countless number of cells in a human body has a consciousness, each knows exactly how to function, and how to respond to whatever is stimulating it. Unfortunately, often the stimulation is the low vibrations of fear, anger, bitterness, guilt, jealousy, dishonesty, greed. That is why physical, mental, and emotional disease is so prevalent in your world. Cells respond equally knowledgeably to the high vibrations of love, joy, gratitude, peacefulness, compassion, and generosity, and they will do the same to what is communicated consciously. Be mindful that cells react to vibrations emitted by words and intent, which has its own vibration, so what you say must be genuine, from your heart, and it's not necessary to speak aloud. You can convey your messages by thought. You can thank the cells for keeping you healthy, for example, or ask them to please keep your blood flowing smoothly, boost your energy level, or help your mind, body, and spirit stay in balance. If you are prone to headaches, or eye strain, any discomfort, ask the cells in the particular area to show you in a recognizable way what you are doing that is preventing them from functioning properly. And always, it is appropriate to tell them you love and honor them for making up the physical aspect of you. We add that talking to cells is not a replacement for seeing a healthcare provider about a condition that has become chronic, or is worsening. Do souls from evolved civilizations who volunteered to come here have cells, and or DNA, that differs from Earth humans? The vast majority of these souls have the same cellular structure, and two-strand DNA, as the peoples of Earth, and they knew when they volunteered that they would have the limitations and deficiencies inherent in third-density bodies. It is by heeding soul-level guidance that they have elevated their conscious, and spiritual awareness above the level of the planet's civilization, and when their lifetime of service ends, and they return to their homelands, they will manifest bodies with the original DNA. We have been saying they, and their, because this pertains to the many souls who don't know they are volunteers as well as to you who do know you are. Now then, a comparatively small number of souls that could be thought of as a spiritual special forces unit have missions that require capabilities far beyond the limits of 3D bodies. Those whose native form differs considerably from yours manifest a humanoid body prior to arrival. Those who more closely resemble you come as they are, and in all cases the light in their cellular makeup keeps the DNA intact. They spend several months in secluded halfway houses, while adapting to Earth's atmosphere, and refining their appearance and behavior to fit into the populace in the countries of their assigned missions. Some of the regular volunteers create documentation, and insert it into appropriate records to substantiate the unit member's birth, citizenship, education, and qualifications in such fields as artificial intelligence, astrophysics, engineering, linguistics, and computer, and medical science. Although these extraterrestrials act much the same as their neighbors and coworkers, that is as far as similarity goes. They can dematerialize and rematerialize objects, and they communicate telepathically with each other on the planet, and colleagues in their homelands. They have photographic memories, and can transfer images by thought to other sources. When there is a need for secrecy in carrying out a mission task, or for personal safety, they can accelerate their vibrations so 3D vision can't detect their presence, or teleport to a safe location, and, if a helper is in danger, they can surround him, or her with a protective light shield. Dear brothers and sisters, you have the capacity to do that, and more. You haven't tapped into it, because your mission doesn't require those abilities, or perhaps you haven't yet developed them. I would love for Mathew to touch on the subject of the new 5G millimeter wave that is being rolled out in the next few years from cell phone companies. The research I have done has shed some light on the subject, and all of it is not good for our cells and DNA. One reason souls from evolved civilizations are helping Earth is that the people's spiritual and conscious advancement has lagged way behind technological advancement. For instance, nuclear power in the hands of a third-density population is pure folly, and nuclear weaponry is suicidal. On numerous occasions, universal family members have prevented catastrophic outcomes in both areas. What a great day it will be when the people of Earth can thank their family from other worlds whose help in myriad ways has been invaluable. But back on point, some of those souls, aware of how specific bandwidths of electromagnetic waves adversely affect body's cellular structure, are in industries where they can promote changes to render harmless cell phones, towers, and other products that now are keeping DNA strands at 2. In this moment, though, vibratory levels on the planet are reducing those products' injurious effects on the populace, and individuals who are absorbing light have additional protection. Please do not let reports of damaging effects let you feel fearful, as fear energy's low vibrations will block protection, and don't ever underestimate the power of vibrations to uplift or undermine any situation. How can MK Ultra mind-controlled individuals clear out that programming? What about people who don't know they have been programmed? Does programming affect DNA? Why can't our guides just pull us out of this? First we say, never is mind control a soul contract choice, because it interferes with the growth of the soul. This insidious aspect of deep third-density mentality, which uses brutal methods to program captive individuals, has reached the end of its time. Prevailing vibrations are easing minds out of the programming that implants a trigger command so the persons will perform assigned tasks. That is why some individuals are able to speak about experiences they were programmed to forget. They cannot absorb light under mind control, but once free of it, they can, and their cells, and DNA, respond accordingly. All individuals who were subjected to mind control, whether or not they escaped prior to entering nirvana, receive personalized healing there. Their psyches are expunged of the torturous programming process so they don't have to re-experience that during life-print review, and neither the process nor mind-controlled experiencing is carried forth in cellular memory to affect subsequent embodiments. The soul's choices for its next personage will include a strong aversion to harming any human or animal life. Long before that form of mind control was devised, the masses were programmed by religious dogma, and, centuries later, by Illuminati and governments, and mainstream media. People who are absorbing light are doubting the veracity of information from authorities, and are learning to trust their intuition as to what is true, and what is not. This rise in consciousness is changing cellular structure to permit an increase in DNA strands. Individuals who don't realize they are stuck in one or another programming system can choose once in spirit life to see the light in another incarnation. Terrorists have no reason to think they have been programmed, because the bigotry, ignorance, oppression, and greed that spawn terrorism are a fact of life in your world. God's emissaries, spirit guides, angels, souls in evolved civilizations, beloved family, and friends in nirvana, are helping you continuously by beaming light to all life on Earth. By universal law, they are not permitted to just pull you out, and there is no need for it. You are doing this yourselves by absorbing light. It isn't only 17 U.S. intelligence agencies claiming that Russia hacked into computer files to influence that country's presidential election. Agencies in other countries that analyzed the footprints also concluded they point to Russia. Now it's known that Russia also hacked into files of states' primary elections. Does Mathew still think that country is innocent? It is not what we think, it is what we know from universal family members who are in all nations' intelligence services. They are part of the special forces we spoke about. That is why we could state with assurance that the hacking was done by U.S. agents who wanted the information in the files to be publicly known prior to the presidential election, and Illuminati in the Democratic National Committee manipulated votes in primary elections so Hillary Clinton, not Bernie Sanders, would be the party's nominee. Members of that Special Forces unit know which agents in the intelligence services are Illuminati, and which of their footprint experts made the ones that point to Russia. Why Russia? The Illuminati needed to stop the erosion of their control within the European Union, and the United States, and that required continued solidarity between those two entities so Illuminati who still had influence, and covert operations on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean could regain effectiveness. What could assure that this international relationship stayed strong? A common enemy. For years the Illuminati have wanted to establish a base of operations in Moscow, but President Putin refused to cooperate. With one fell swoop of a double-edged sword, so to say, they could punish him, and shore up their ebbing power in the EU, and the US. Their Black Ops agents heightened the tension stirring in Crimea, and Ukraine, then put out the word that Putin forcibly took over those regions in his drive to bring all countries in the former Soviet Union under his control, and they pointed the finger at Russia for interfering in the United States electoral process. Their mainstream media has kept those stories in the spotlight to convince the EU and the US that Russia poses a serious threat to democracy. Lies repeated often enough become facts. Illuminati in military forces and manufacturing are talking about the need to strengthen defense capability. They profit handsomely from making the machinery of war. The populace believes that Russia is the free world's enemy, so to that extent the Illuminati have achieved their purpose, but the EU-US solidarity they expected to firmly cement is cracking, and they will not succeed in turning their contrived Cold War into why. We understand why questions and comments about United States President Trump outnumber all other topics of reader interest. Our love for this soul is unconditional, just as for all others in our universal family, and it is without judgment that we say he lacks the qualifications to wisely manage the extensive responsibilities of his office. Dismay about his policy decisions, advisors, and non-presidential communication and behavior is widespread, because this government's actions have repercussions around the world. The following part of our message some months ago bears repeating, because it is as valid now as then. The election outcome doomed the Illuminati's plan to put one of their own back in the White House after 8 years of having to fight a president who fought back to the extent he could. Planetary vibrations will strengthen and advance only endeavors that best serve Earth and all her life forms. Anything to the contrary cannot be long-lasting. Hard-won rights and progress in social justice cannot be dismantled. It is not the destiny of Earth's peoples to go backward, but to move ever forward toward peace, mutual respect, cooperation, and life in harmony with nature. The world where life is like that, and the planet is restored to health and pristine beauty, the world you are helping to create in linear time, already vibrantly exists in the continuum. December 9, 2016. Beloved lightworkers, your optimism about Earth's future will help to dispel the low vibrations of dismay that are delaying society's movement toward the fullness of the Golden Age. As you direct your energy into positive thoughts, feelings, and actions that not only preserve progress to date, but had momentum so it can surge forward, send light in abundance to all of Earth. Visualizing the planet restored to health and pristine beauty, and all peoples living in peace, mutual respect, cooperation, and life in harmony with nature will hasten the day in linear time when that world is fully manifested. Light beings throughout this universe honor your service to Earth, and support you with the unparalleled power of unconditional love. Love and peace. Suzanne Ward. Website, The Mathew Books.